Hello, guys. Welcome back. We have got a major story to break down today because this situation surrounding the Indiana fever has completely exploded. And now it's become much bigger than just a debate over transgender participation in women's sports. What started with Sophie Cunningham speaking out has now turned into allegations involving the Indiana Fever organization itself after former Fever player Brianna Turner made some very serious claims. Now, before we dive into this, let's make one thing clear. There are two separate conversations happening here. One is Sophie Cunningham's opinion about biological men competing in women's sports. The other is Brianna Turner's allegation that a male staffer with the Indiana Fever was fired for sexual harassment, and that players were allegedly encouraged to keep quiet about it. Those are two different issues, but they have now collided into one massive controversy. So here's what happened. Sophie Cunningham has been making headlines after publicly saying she does not believe biological men should be competing in women's sports. Her comments immediately divided fans. Some people praised her for saying what they believe. Others criticized her, calling her MAGA and accusing her of targeting transgender athletes. As expected, social media absolutely exploded. Then, Cheryl Reeve weighed in on the issue. She pushed back against the growing criticism of transgender athletes in sports, arguing that transgender athletes have become political targets. Cheryl Reeve said she believes the issue is being exaggerated to create division and that exclusion is never the answer. She emphasized that sports teach teamwork, leadership, and confidence, and she believes transgender athletes deserve those opportunities as well. That statement only fueled the debate even more. Then, Brianna Turner entered the conversation, and that's where things took a shocking turn. Instead of simply responding to Sophie Cunningham's comments, Brianna Turner made an allegation involving her former team, the Indiana Fever. She wrote, "An issue that has caused problems, though. Last year, on my WNBA team, the Indiana Fever, a male staffer was fired for sexual harassment, but we were encouraged to keep quiet about it. That is an issue. Sexism, misogyny, homophobia, and racism are all issues." Now that's a massive allegation. If what Brianna Turner is saying is accurate, then this goes far beyond a social media debate. She's essentially claiming that there was an internal incident involving sexual harassment and that players were allegedly encouraged not to speak publicly about it. Now, let's be responsible here. At this point, these are allegations made by Brianna Turner. We have not seen the Indiana Fever publicly confirm or respond to those specific claims, and without additional evidence, nobody should present them as established fact. But regardless, once a former player makes a statement like that publicly, people are naturally going to ask questions. I don't think many people expected this conversation to go in this direction. Instead of the discussion staying focused on transgender participation in sports, Brianna Turner shifted the attention toward what she believes are more significant issues inside organizations, including sexism, misogyny, homophobia, and racism. Whether people agree with her or disagree with her, there's no denying that her post completely changed the conversation. Meanwhile, Sophie Cunningham doesn't appear interested in backing away from her original position. During a recent interview, she doubled down on everything she previously said. She made it very clear that she believes biological men should not compete in women's sports, and she didn't soften her language or walk back her comments despite the backlash. That takes confidence because she knew exactly what kind of criticism was coming. Supporters applauded her for standing by her beliefs instead of apologizing under pressure. Critics argued that her comments could be harmful to transgender athletes and that inclusion should remain a priority. Once again, the WNBA found itself at the center of another heated cultural debate. Now, here's the reality. This isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about free speech, player activism, league policies, workplace accountability, and how organizations respond when serious allegations are made. If Brianna Turner's allegation is true, then people are going to demand transparency from the Indiana Fever organization. If it's inaccurate or missing important context, then that deserves clarification as well. Either way, these are serious claims that shouldn't simply be ignored. At the same time, Sophie Cunningham has made it clear that she isn't changing her position. She said what she believes, she repeated it publicly, and she appears willing to deal with whatever criticism follows. So now the spotlight is on everyone involved: the Indiana Fever, Brianna Turner, Sophie Cunningham, Cheryl Reeve, and even the WNBA itself. The big question is whether the league or the Indiana Fever organization will publicly address Brianna Turner's allegation, or whether this controversy will continue growing without an official response. One thing is certain: this story has become one of the biggest talking points in the WNBA, and it's not slowing down anytime soon.
It's not much to talk about.
So you deleted a post about the three-point contest with your earliest percentages. Did you want to get invited to that?
I mean, I think it would have been fun, but I'm not surprised. I feel like the league always gets in the league's way. And, I was going to keep that post up. I'm like, you know what, who cares? Like, I'm fine. I don't need to get into all of that. The people that they chose, they are elite level shooters. I think they're going to have a lot of fun, and they're all qualified to be there. And so good job to them. But yeah, I'll let Drew, speak on my behalf. He's the best trader in the entire world. And so if he's saying it, I think that's pretty valid.
Did you want to do it?
I mean, I would have done it. I would have loved to win some money. I need to buy a boat, so that would have been fun, but it's fine.
What are you going to do in lieu? You mentioned having some plans you wanted to finalize before All-Star Weekend, so that you have the weekend free. What's the move?
I will be on a boat this weekend, so that's my plans, and I'm excited to, kind of get a little break, refresh. I think everyone is. I think there's a lot of people who are going to be in Chicago, which will be a lot of fun. But it's kind of nice just to relax, and I'll be there on Friday, and it'll be kind of cool to be around people, and you're just not always competing against them, because I think we have some really fun girls in the league, and it's always fun. We can all hang out, and it's not always a big competition.
So from last year to this year, even with the amount of, fame that you have now, how have you kind of just dealt with all that? Read the ESPN article?
Yeah, honestly, I'm still just me. I've always been this. There's just more people, more eyes, but I'm still going to beat to my own drum. For me, I think it's more about there's more kids whose eyes are on you and looking up to you, and so I think just being a positive influence in the community is always great. Inspiring them, making sure that they're confident and being able to do what they want to do when they're my age, and so I think it's a fun position to be in.
On that same vein, in that story with ESPN, you talked about wanting to protect young girls who shouldn't have to go against biological men. Can you expand your viewpoint on that?
I mean, I think I said what I said. I think it's kind of common sense. And I think I'll always believe in that. I think it's really important to protect children. And that's little girls who are also involved in that category. And so I stand on what I said, and I always believe that.
Yeah, do you see your advocacy on that, taking any form going forward?
I don't know. I'm not a very political person, but I do have beliefs. I have morals, and I'll always stand on those and be true to who I am. And I think people are going to take it how they want to take it, but I've never even really said anything about that. And so when it comes just to protecting young girls in sport and women in sport, I feel very strongly about that. I think that's why you have Title IX. That's why you have some of the greats in women's sports. If Title IX and women's sports weren't protected, then you wouldn't hear about any type of women in sport. And so I think in the future, it's just really important to protect.
Do you think, along the line that, it goes against perhaps, some people might say, hey, for the trans community, this could be something that could come back on us or be targeted against us? How do you, view that sort of critique?
Like I said, I extend love, and I don't dislike anyone. I think there is room for absolutely everyone here, and I think there's room to love everyone. And I truly think when you get people in the same room and you have conversations, you actually have a lot in common with a lot of people. And so I'm there to love. But I'm also there to love biological women, and I think that there are rights that need to be protected. And like I said, I'm going to stand true to that. I'll never falter in my beliefs in that, but I have never once said I hated the trans community. Like I said, I think there's space for everyone.
Sophie, what about Connecticut today? Tell us a little bit about the game. What are you thinking about Keys or guarding Brittany? You know her so well.
Yeah, I think it has been so fun. I played with BG for 6 years, and so I know her like the back of my hand, and as of late, she's been playing really good. She's been playing like OG Brittany, and so we have our hands full down in the paint. I really think actually Connecticut is playing really good as a whole. I think everyone's playing their role really well from top to bottom. They don't go out there and do anything outside of what they do, and that makes it difficult. And so, yeah, you could look at standings and where they're at in the league, but when you do that in this league, you're going to get beat by 50. And so we have one more game before break, and we cannot take this game lightly at all. And so we have to come out with following our scout, following our game plan offensively, making them play us into what we do. But, BG's a load for anybody.
Last one I have, Sophie. How do you, I guess, navigate a climate where whatever you say, people are going to say, well, this means you're automatically in this box or this label, that label, politically, morally, whatever?
I really don't care. I know that sounds bad, and I'm not trying to come off like that, but I do think, everyone always is coming at it as a negative. Well, me coming out with that, there's so many people who are coming out with the positive, saying, you know what, finally someone has said something, and I don't really look at either side of those, because I know whatever I say, I'm going to get hate and I'm going to get love, and if I'm going to live by the love, I'm going to die by the hate, and that's just not who I am. I beat to my own drum, and so people are always going to have something to say. You could win the championship, you could be the best at whatever it is, and there's still people who are going to hate on you, and so that's just what this world is. So I'm confident in who I am. I'm proud of who I am. I'm happy being me, and I'm going to continue to be that.
Have you always had kind of that mentality when it comes to, people saying things, or is that something you've built and learned to adapt over time?
I think I've always kind of been able to, handle that type of pressure, I would say, and the type of eyes and the type of people who have comments. And like I said, there's going to be some negative comments, but there's also a whole bunch of positive comments too that no one really ever, people hate positivity for some reason. I have no idea why, but there's a lot of positive comments too when it comes to that. And so, it is what it is. Like I said, we're all human. We're no one's perfect here. And so I really don't care what other people have to say. I know who I am. My people know who I am. And hopefully I'm doing them proud and making room for young boys and girls in our world to have a better future than we did.
Sophie Cunningham is standing on business, and she made that crystal clear before the game. After refusing to back down from her comments about biological men competing in women's sports, the fallout has only gotten bigger. Brianna Turner responded directly to Sophie Cunningham by putting the Indiana Fever organization on blast with a serious allegation. Now, as of this moment, it remains an allegation. We don't know if it's true, so it's important to treat it as an unverified claim until more information comes out. But there's no question this controversy has taken over WNBA discussions. Fans are flooding social media, with some calling the Indiana Fever organization diabolical, while others are defending Sophie Cunningham for speaking her mind. This whole situation is spreading like wildfire, and everyone seems to have an opinion. What says you? Get down in those comments and let me know exactly what you think. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share the channel.